going to look at a couple now visual display methods that we can now use to do stuff. The first type is a bar graph. Now, bar graphs that we use aren't any different than the bar graphs that you probably learned about in elementary school. Basically, you have your frequency going up the side. Now, the only change here is you could use relative frequency as well, now going up the side. And then you're going to use rectangles that are equal width. So you don't want skinny rectangles or bigger rectangles. And the height goes up to whatever the frequency or the relative frequency is. With this one, the two that we're seeing here on the screen, this is for those MasterCard, Visa, Amex, Discover ones. And so they've got the one with the blue, which is the one on the left. This one, they've just done frequency. So the 11 MasterCards, the 23 Visas, and so on. On the right-hand side, or in the purple graph, this is where they've done the relative frequency with the 0.22 or the 0.46. Notice that the graph shape is the exact same. So there should not be a difference in, like, if Visa was the tallest quantity or the highest frequency in one, it should not all of a sudden not be the tallest bar in a relative frequency graph. So taking a look at our problems on our worksheet, okay, we have the first one talks about we have and I'm just going to kind of do a quick drop here. Okay. And this is cereal and bakery. This is meat. This is dairy. And this is fruits and veggies. Okay. So it asks, on which category was the least amount of money spent? And so when we look, dairy here is the lowest category. So that's going to be the cheapest one. And then it says true or false. On average, families spent more on fruits and vegetables than on cereals. Now, these two bars are really close to each other, but if you line them up, fruits and veggies is actually slightly lower than cereals. So that would be false for that one. Okay. Now, the next one that we're going to look at is number 9. Okay. Now, number 9 partners with the data that we had just done at the very last of the section, or the part 1 video, where we had, I'm going to recreate my list here. We had Halo, Call of Duty, Connect, Just Dance, Madden, and Assassin's Creed. And we had a relative frequency of 0.2270. We had 0.201, 0.167, 0.144, 0.109, 0.109. And so they ask us to make a relative frequency bar graph. Okay, so I'm going to build my bar graph down here. And let's see, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So this is going to be 0.30, 0.25, 0.20, 0.15, 0.10, 0.05. So the first one is going to be 0.27. So I'll build my bar to there. And that was Halo. Then I've got 0.201, which will be about here. And that's going to be our Call of Duty. We're at 0.67, so it'll be here. And that's our Connect one. We've got 0.44, which will be about here. And that's our Just Dance. Then we've got 0.109, which will be here. And that's Madden. And another one that was Assassin's Creed. So we've now made a relative frequency, again, because I'm using those relative frequencies as my measurement up the side. I now have that. Now, one of the other things is a specific type of bar graph. It's actually called a Pareto chart. And a Pareto chart is where you actually start with the highest frequency first and then work your way down to the lower categories. Now, this is particularly nice for instances like when we were talking about the fruits and vegetables versus cereals, because the cereals category would have happened before the fruits and vegetables, but they would have been side by side, so we would have been able to see them. Now, actually, the graph that we just got done doing over here with our video games, this is actually a Pareto chart because we've got the highest category or the highest frequency is first, and then we worked our way down. But if we look at a couple of other examples, we'll see that this also. So if we take a look at number, oh, I take that back. This one is the Pareto. We'll have another Pareto here in just a second. We've got to cover one other data set before we get there. So one other thing is we can do horizontal bars as opposed to the vertical bars. Now, with horizontal bars, oftentimes what happens here is we use these when the titles for our stuff is a little bit longer than it is. Because, for example, with this one that we have here, to try and fit the category manufacturing, extraction, transportation, and crafts underneath or at the bottom of a graph, so these bars went vertically, that would be very, very difficult. And we'd have to either do some abbreviations or run it up into a couple of lines, that type of thing. It's a bit easier to run them description-wise long ways across, and then just let the bars go horizontally. Notice that across the bottom here, they're using relative frequencies for this one, and it's the same type of thing. We've just got that the chart is turned sideways.